welcome to the, I guess we'll call this a webinar. It's more of a demo for you all this morning. And I hope many of you, and I know you have, because I know you've been active. We launched this new website in May, and we've had some real challenges once we launched it. We probably launched it about a month earlier than we should have, but we really wanted to get these web developers, get them going, give them a little kick in the butt so that we would get these things live, and everything is starting to smooth out a little bit. So I'm really excited to be able to share this with you today. So just for those of you that don't know, my name is John Eng here. I'll stop sharing real quick and then I'll share again. If you can see me. I can see some of you. Most of you have turned off your cameras, which is fine. Looks like everybody's muted. But I'm really excited to meet with you all today and talk to you about some of the things that can help you hopefully make your life easier, and the changes that we've made to the website for that reason specifically. So good morning. I'm going to take my mug off the recording here and put you back on the share of the screen. So we're going to go back to the NAES.org website and talk about some things. All right, this should last just under an hour. Hopefully we have some questions at the end, but hopefully I do a good enough job to make them minimal. So we're on the main page of the website, and I'm just bringing this up just so hopefully you guys have seen it and seen the new look and like the new look of what we're doing. We're trying to make it easier for not only to navigate for new people, but for existing organizations that are involved with this. We have a great relationship with all of our military partners, and have a long-standing relationship with the Air Force that we're very proud of. So we want to make things easy as possible for you, and I'm gonna talk about some of those things that have changed. The one thing I do want to say when we have the website up here, one of the most important things just for you is to every now and then check out the Sporting Kit and the blog, which I'm highlighting here on the news, because there's some really great information. Our staff, our content staff specifically, does a really good job of updating the content weekly, and you'll see some really good articles that you can share. If you're doing a newsletter or you're doing Facebook posts out to your people, there's some great information on here that you can share at all times, whether it's challenges of parents or coaching. You can see up here on the top, it's got information for everybody, and there's some really good research on this site. So I'm just encouraging you, when you're doing some web surfing, or you're looking for something to share with your parents or with your volunteers, there's really good information in here. And in addition to that, the blog also will contain some things more pertinent to what we do and some of the updates on the actual programs that you're looking at. But that's where those things come. So I know you're probably getting the newsletter, which links a lot of these things, but I wanted you just every now and then go back to this news section here and check. And it is both of these items are located on our new homepage down a little bit with the most recent ones. So you can see this is the actual NAES.org homepage that I'm scrolling down. All right, but that's not really what you're getting to coming here to look at. I'm going to hide my controls that's floating over my screen here. Okay, got it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use Whitman Air Force Base, and I don't know if Greg is on here or not. I've hid my controls, so I can't see the chat right now. And I hope I'll be able to bring those back up in a minute. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to log in as Greg. And the first thing you'll see, if you have not logged into the website yet with your account, you're going to have to create a new password from the old days of having a CL clinic number or a clinician number or member number to log in is out the door now, which probably will relieve a lot of you from the pain of having to know those kinds of things. And everything is based on an email address now. So that's really important to know. And the other thing is that you'll see what I'm about to show you is that any account that you have with us, if you're a certified youth sport administrator, which I know many of you are, those accounts now are linked together with your organizational account and the coach's information, everything. And I'm going to show you how to navigate that. Now, the first thing I can see from Greg coming in here is that he's getting a note that says, It wants them to review the representative training and agreements. Don't be scared by clicking this. All this is a nice little review of some of the things that we do and some of the updates to the programs that we offer. You can skip right through that. But if you want that to stop appearing every time you log in, just click on this representative training and agreements and just say, got it, reviewed it, and you're good to go. And the next thing you'll know is you'll get to your actual homepage for your organization. Okay, so there's a couple of things to look at here when we first log in, and to keep in mind, so this has got a little bit of a blue theme. That means you're on your organizational page, but there's a toggle up here. And if you highlight over it, you can see it says switch to your user account. You can also expand this, put a little image in here, got a little bit more information. The account balance, these are things I'll talk about in a second, but you can see you can minimize that. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my user account. Every rep for an organization, so every one of you probably on this call now is a rep with your organization, which means you get an automatic account, whether you're a CYSA or not. You'll have an account that you can click back and forth through. If you don't have it already and you haven't reviewed like the NAES trainings, as a rep, you have access to one free coach account so that you can review those, so that if your members or your volunteers are actually asking any questions, you have a little bit more knowledge there. Quick drink of water, sorry. You can see now I'm in Greg's so this is his individual account. And the first thing you'll notice, if you are a CYSA, this box will appear. If you're not a CYSA, or even if you're in the process of getting one, this won't be here. But you can click in the CYSA area and get any of the information that you need about your account. Probably the most important one, if you're an existing CYSA, is under the continuing education. Of course, you can go in here and review. You can go into the share area and share different documents or see what other people have actually shared. So many of you have the same questions, and it's a great resource. I would also encourage you, if you haven't done this, get on the CYSA Facebook page, because a lot of things happen a lot quicker there with the comments. But this is where you can actually share documents. But I'm going to give you a quick look at the continuing education, because now that's all, you have the ability to self-manage this. So I hope Greg doesn't mind, but we're going to look at his history. So he's been a CYSA for at least 6 years, you can see here, because this shows his history of getting his 10 hours every 2 years. I should say 12 years then, right? Yeah, 2016. Well, actually, it is 6 years, 7 years. So he's gotten his 10 hours every time he's needed them. And here's his the title of the last course that he took that year. And in his current cycle, he has 0 of his 10 hours, but you can see he's got till November 18th, 2024 to be able to get into that next cycle. So if he comes to the Congress, he'll get all 10 of his hours, but he can also submit hours here. So I'll show you just real briefly by adding hours for your CYSA. You get 2 different options here. The first is whether they're NAES or non-NAES CEUs. And we try to stay away from the CEUs. It's really just continuing education, because they're not CEU approved. They're basically approved by the staff here with Lisa, and making sure they're youth sports focused. If they are non-NAES, if you went to a conference, you can submit those, and you can see if it's a 1-hour course, there's a processing fee that goes with that up to, you can go all the way up to all 10 of your hours and submit, and it'll ask you for a file and the other things that you need to do, and that will update you. In addition to that, you can select NAES in any of the trainings that you've already gone through. So if you're a NAES coach, or if you've gone through our concussion training or the bullying training that are free on the website, they will appear in this dropdown. So Greg hasn't done any of those, or he's already submitted them, so they wouldn't appear here. But these would be your eligible NAES trainings that you could also submit for CEU processing. Okay, so if you have any questions on that, it'd probably be best to just jot that down as a note. You can ask in the chat in a minute here. But the other thing is, if you wanted to update that, send in a message to Lisa and staff at the CYSA at naes.org, which is probably the best way to go. I'll go back to our main page. And again, I'm on Greg's individual page finding this out, okay? So I'll go to my member dashboard here. And there's all kinds of other things in here. And I know now, because I just checked out Greg's, that he doesn't have the trainings in his training portal. What he has is this is his CYS or CYSA courses that he can review. And down here, he would be able to add any free trainings that he wanted to add that would be eligible for those continuing education credits. Okay. So we'll go now. I'm going to switch out of Greg's individual account. You can see it's switching back to his organizational account. Let me see if I can pull back up the controls. On my screen, I know you can't see this. I can't see the floating controls anymore. Let me see if I can pull that back up. Well, I can't see them, but I'm going to just move on, and I'll do that at the end. If you have a question, chat it in there now, and I'll answer it at the end. I see there's some chats in. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh no, that's different. I know it seems like I'm just talking to myself. I feel like I'm talking to you guys, but all right. So I'm going to go back to back here, and we'll do the questions in a minute when I can find where that chat back is in. All right, so now I am back again, logged in. This is just one single login using your email address and the new password that you created for the account in your NAES account. And now I am out to the Whitman Air Force Base organizational account. It says, hi, Greg. I'm sorry, Greg, if I Gangamela. I'm assuming that's what that is. But there can be other representatives included in this account, but Greg is listed as what's called the lead representative for us. So I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to show you some of these things. I'll show you how this happened. You can see I put in a logo for Greg here. That this could be obviously across the board for you guys, but you could also customize this and have it be for your local base also. So I'm going to start in my organization info to show you a couple things. And the first one is the update organization info, which is where that logo came from. And there's a couple other important things here. Make sure that this is accurate for you. I went ahead and found this logo and put it in just as a generic placeholder. You'll see in a minute, I added this from the website of Generic Air Force also, but you could customize this for Whitman. This needs to be your actual landing page that you want people, all your volunteers, to be able to go to as far as your website goes. And one of the most important things here is the actual name of your organization being what you want it to be. And this is actually, I think our staff put this in with the plus in the center here. And the reason for that is when you have a landing page for your organizations, that's what's going to show up for your custom landing page that I'm going to show you in a second. So the organization name is important. When you update this, it's going to actually ask you to also do this additional information here, which I've already done, and put that information in as well. So select your organization type as Air Force, obviously, and pretty self-explanatory stuff. I didn't put in the number of participants, but you just need to save that. So that's how you update that organizational info. And the reason that's important, as I mentioned, is because the new website comes with what we're calling a landing page. Again, I'm back in the organizational info. So this is the dashboard for the organization again, and you can see the blue. When we're in the blue area, that means we're in the organization. I'm going to go to this organization landing page. And this is basically the landing page. And the important thing here is to see up here in the URL, it's a custom URL that's naes.org/Whitman Air Force Base Youth Center, which is, again, the name that was in the organization name. So that would change if you changed that. The roles are what we're going to talk about in just a second that are listed. These are the official roles that you would offer your volunteers. These are the ones that are there by default, but I'm going to show you how to change that if you want. So this includes a NAES coach, a NAES parent, a league director, an official, and it also includes the academy. You can see the organizational overview was what I entered on that other page. So if you wanted to put, you could change that, but this is the link that you're going to send out to your volunteers to register. And I'm going to show you how that works in just a second. But all the contact information comes up here. Now, the reason it says modify roles is because I'm logged in as the organization right now. I'm logged in as Greg. If I am logged out, that will change to a register button. And this is the link that you send out, and I'm going to show you. in an email. And I'm assuming you can see this on my screen. And these are the instructions that are very basic, but this is where you would send. We used to have a kind of a complex instruction sheet to sign up for our website, because it took you to another website to do the training versus the NAES.org, but now everything's in one place. So basically all you have to tell them is follow this link, which is the NAES.org Whitman Air Force Base link. And then it's going to ask them one question while they're registered that they may not know the answer to, but it's basically to enter if they're affiliated with an organization, and it tells them here that they would enter Whitman or Whitman to select their organization, and it will come up, and I'm going to show you that process in just a second. But that's why that's important to have this page as updated as possible with your information on it, because this is the page you would send them to register. Okay, I'm going to go back. You can see that one doesn't actually link out to the dashboard. So I'm back on the dashboard. And again, this to edit this, update your organization info, and you can then see the landing page. I'm going to click on Manage Representatives. I mentioned that a second ago when we were logged in as Greg. And many of you might have a number of people who have transferred out that used to be the representative for your organization. You as the lead rep, and you can see Greg is listed as the lead rep here. He's checked. You always have to have at least one person as a lead rep. And it looks like he has Sharon. And this is if you have NAES HQ doing some registrations for you, creating batches. We will create an account for ourselves in there to be able to manage and do some work for you. If you're an organization that does that, if you're calling our office and asking us, if you're sending us rosters, you'll see that one in there also. So don't delete that one. And if you do delete it, we can just add it back in. But you can see it has a unique account name. But I'll say again, a lot of you will click on that Manage Representatives, and it will probably have some older names in there that are not active for you. You can delete them. It does not affect them in the system if they're on another base. It just takes them out as a representative for your organization. So that's where you can manage that. Okay. So let's go back. And remember, this is recorded and they're going to offer it back out to you. I think HQ is going to offer it back out to you to be able to review this. If I'm moving fast, I'm trying to stay within this hour time frame that we've given. And it's a lot of information, I understand. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard, and you can see there's other things on here that you can see. You can go into your order history to make sure if you've transferred people that were on your base and have gone somewhere else, that'll be in here. You can actually track the different representatives that are listed there to see what they've been doing in the organization, and you can look at past invoices here. Okay, so that's it for your organization info for now, and I really encourage you all, after we're done, while it's fresh in your mind, to get on and check out all these little different features so that you can, while it's fresh in your mind, update them and ask questions, send us emails. I should note there's you see these little icons all over the screen. That's because I'm in our admin section here at the same time. You won't see these. These are from our staff to be able to edit content in those different sections. So just ignore that if you're wondering what those are. The other two things I'll show you up here in the box. This is where you'll get notifications from either the NAES staff, or if you have things going on like coach ratings, which I hope you do. So I hope you get on here and have 10 or 12 notifications about coach ratings. And I'm going to go over that briefly. And then if you are an organization that adds money to your account, most Air Force bases are operating so they're adding money, and then NAES staff is entering rosters. I'm going to show you an easier way to do that. But at the same time, if you want to continue to do that, this is where you enter that money. And if you click that, it takes you to the account balance that you can manage. I'm going to show you a different way to get there as well. But you can see this is the money that was put in and the money is coming out for credits and debits there. All right, some of the features that are pretty similar to the old site, I'm going to show you really quick, but they've been updated and they have a little bit better functionality. So now I'm in the Manage Trainings and Membership box here. And because this is what most people want to do a lot, is to see the status of your members. And I've already brought this up in another tab here to make it a little quicker. So what I'm showing here is the, yep, it's there twice. Okay. Close that one out. This is the member area. this would be all your current members, and I'm going to turn it to member status as active. If you're looking up a coach or you want to see your current, these are the people that have finished their trainings. So we've got William Kapala here, got his email, and you can see these are the requirements for him to be a NAYS coach. Right now, that's the default requirement. He has added, or we've asked them to add at the base level, some significant extra trainings here. So he's done his Coaching Youth Sports, which includes the sport specific for soccer, but he's also added bullying prevention, sudden cardiac arrest, mental health and youth sports, concussion, and protecting youth athletes for coaches, which he hasn't started these last 3, but he's doing pretty well considering he started at the beginning of August and he's already gone through 5 of these trainings. So that's really good. It shows them green because he's fulfilled the requirements that were set, which is just the NAYS coach, which is now, I'm getting into this in a minute. If you remember, if you've been around for quite a while, you know that it's always been Coaching Youth Sports and one sport specific video. Well, there's been so much more information on safety, whether it's AED or sudden cardiac arrest or heat illness or weather emergencies and emergency action plans, that we have taken out the safety portion of information out of the Coaching Youth Sports video, shortened it a little bit, and added the safety information, basic youth sports safety and first aid training as an additional requirement. It doesn't really add, it adds like 11 minutes to the total training of the 3 courses combined, but it makes it easier for the coaches to be able to access that kind of information. And we felt like that was really important. And it's also going to offer you an opportunity to create a custom role that I'm going to show you in a second. So that's a new requirement. Your first question should probably be for your existing coaches. Do they have to do that? When they log into their account, they're going to see that they've already been grandfathered in, and those trainings have been added to their membership for free. So any coach that you've already had in the system for a year or 2 that didn't have the basic youth sports safety, that is now in their account, and they can review that, and there's no additional cost for that. In addition, you may be aware that we update the Coaching Youth Sports every 3 or 4 years. It has been completely updated, so they'll have the same access to that new training. So every time we update that, we just add that to your existing members' accounts. And of course, the new coaches that come in will just see the new trainings. So on this list, just for this coach, William, Coaching Youth Sports is brand new. Basic youth sports and safety is brand new. The sudden cardiac arrest is new. Mental health and youth sports is new. We did that with ESPN. Concussion is actually updated. We now have the heads up concussion from the CDC as opposed to our own concussion training. And there's a new group of protecting youth athletes for coaches, but there's also one for administrators, and there's one for parents that you can send out. They're all free. All these additional trainings are free. But these are great. Protecting youth athletes for coaches was done by Michigan State University, and we're really proud of these new trainings. And you can offer them all as a NAYS organization for free. Sorry, I apologize for continuing to drink. I played about an hour and a half of pickleball in 100-degree heat last night, so I'm a little dehydrated. I'm going to show you one other thing in here that I've done, or actually 2 other things. The first is these 2 links here, the customized table view and being able to edit the custom fields. I'm going to hit customize table view. All that does is allow you, depending on which device you're in on and how big your screen is, you can expand. So I've taken out like phone, date of birth. I've taken out background checks because that doesn't apply to you. You have your own. They're not in this system. But whatever you do to select here when you do that, if I wanted to put phone back in and I hit save, the phone number category or column will appear. I just do this to make it the best that you want it to look on whatever screen and the information that you need in there. So you might delete or add whatever you want. I've got the coach rating that you can see for this organization is blank, but this is where those ratings would show up. So you can get lots of information here, and you can sort it by membership type, and whether you got parents or officials, whatever in here, and the status, you can do that. The add and edit custom fields role is, I'm going to show you where that is by looking at William's account here. Again, I think oh, there we go. And I can actually go in now and you can see the custom field that I created that added was shirt size. You can make that field anything you want and it will show up only for your members. So if it's something that you capture as shirt size for your coaches, if you provide them shirts, or if you wanted to create a category called how long they've been on base or notes about that coach, you could basically go in and do that with that feature. I'll go back to the members list and just show you really quick. And there was an edit button there that shows you how to actually input. But if you add custom fields, you can see I put shirt size in here, a text box, but you can put a date picker, you can put whatever you want. So again, I encourage you to go in, check out these different features. If it says something like this, look and see what it is, see if it would help you out in your management to keep everything in one area. You can see the list resorted. This person's in there, but they don't have any account information. Let me see. Yeah, well, I clicked on them, but this is a person that hasn't finished up many trainings at all. But you can see all the information down here on that individual. If you're looking for their NAES information, whether they've, done a coach rating, all their coach ratings would be listed here, those kinds of things. So, okay, so that's a quick view with the member list. And what you can do, I'll return back out to the dashboard. You can get to the dashboard here. You can click on the member organization home. You could actually go up here to my account on the top right. Whenever you're logged in, you'll see the log out here. And if not, you'll see my account. If it's not my account, it'll be sign in up there on the top right. So again, under the managed trainings and memberships, I'm going to show you how to do a batch really quick, or show you where that information is. And we encourage you, I know a lot of you will send a list, email a list of coaches, but this is designed now to be self-managed. If you're just entering a couple coaches to be renewed, this is where you would do that in this register manage users link. And all you need is their email address. Once you put in an email address, and I can show you how it would work. I have an email address in here for me, John Air Force Base. And you can see as soon as I move to first name, it's going to search me, and it found me because I'm an existing member. So if I add this person, it's going to be for renewal if I'm active. If I'm within the time period of being able to be active. If I wasn't in there, it would add me as a new user and it would ask me for some more information. The other thing I can do is I can just create the email addresses and first and last name on a spreadsheet, upload the CSV file, the extension for Excel. You pick the CSV file, and if you're not sure about that, you can get a sample file here that shows you exactly how that would look. So if you had 20 coaches you wanted to upload into the system, you could do that, put them right in. And then once you do that, those batches will go, and you can pay for those batches yourself. You don't have to call us. You don't have to email us. Sorry, I meant to go here actually, and I just went by it. And you can do that yourself. And we'll look, I'm going to go back in and review them, and you can see the ones that, so one Greg had NAES HQ do for him, but he's done his own. And you can see he's done some single coaches. He's done some multiple coaches here, the number of members, or they might be parents. And you can see he's done renewals, and he's done the individual trainings probably separately, but he can go back in and review them, and you can see which coaches that he put in and their email addresses. Okay. So that's where you do that. And again, you can go back out to the dashboard, which I find easy to navigate, but you can also find these things in here. So there's my review batches, background checks you don't need access to. I'm going a little slower than I intended to go, but we've got time. Okay, so that's review batches. I won't go into the coach rating system right here. If you haven't looked at that, please do. And I really encourage you. It's going to be a real big push. You're going to see some messaging from us on this now that the website's up. But we really want to encourage everybody to do at least one in-season coach evaluation. So easy to send out an email and have your parents register or any volunteers or anybody that go in and register and evaluate the coaches that are on the team. And it's totally anonymous. If you haven't used it yet, I really encourage you to get some good information about your volunteers using the coach rating system. Very easy to do. The other thing you can see here is a user activity report. So if somebody tells you that they were in the system and they've halfway done their training, you can go in here and you can actually see your coaches in your system or your parents in the system and see if they've actually been in the system doing it. For the record, or for your knowledge, under a NAES ID, once they become a coach, you'll see a C. If they're a parent, there's a P. So if they don't have that designation, that means they're currently in the system getting their training. But once they are active, they get a C or a P. You'll see by your name, if you're a CYSA, you'll see an A for administrator. You will also probably see an R, which means you're a representative for an organization next to your NAES ID. They're really only for internal use now. You don't need it to log in. You don't need it to search. Your email address is unique, and it's pretty much what we use for everything now, like most websites do. Okay, so I'm back into the managed trainings and membership, and the other feature here in this portion is if you are doing on-site trainings, this is where you would manage that and order your materials. It used to be a little bit more difficult. There's a couple of great features in here. Once you do add an on-site training, you can just pick the sport, whether it's a NAES sport or whether it's a what we call an expert training sport. So like a wrestling or a track that we don't offer on video, you can add that here. You can go in and see all your on-site trainings once you've submitted them. Submit the training rosters. And a cool feature here is once you actually submit a training roster, if you set a date a month in advance and you get your coaches registering, it'll send out the emails to them. And then when they come to the actual on-site training, they'll get an email on their phone, obviously, and they can check in. So you can sit there and see if you had 30 people or 10 people to come to an on-site training, you'll see that they're there and that they've actually checked in. And then if you have any new people, you could add them to the list at that time. So if you do on-site trainings, I encourage you to come down here and check that out. It's really designed to be self-managed, so that you can do it. And if you have any issues with that, obviously with our staff, they will always walk you through it. So one of the very new things, and this is what I want to spend just a little bit of time on, is what you saw on that landing page as far as a role is concerned. So this is kind of a new thing for us. It's always been our roles are the training programs that we have, which are, the NAES coach program, formerly the NYSCA, the PAYS parents program, which used to be called PAYS, and now it's just the NAES parents program. We have our league director training for any volunteers who are involved with organizing leagues and managing leagues as volunteers, whether it's parents sitting on a board helping you out, the things that they should know and the trainings that they do. And of course, we have our officials training, which is a supplemental training for officials who need that kind of thing, or for volunteer officials. They're not sports specific, but it's really good training to let officials know how to deal with parents and other coaches and manage games and manage expectations and those kinds of things. So those things are our standard roles. But you can actually create some other roles. So I'll show you how to do that. And again, just as a reminder, we're in Greg's account here, and we're going to click on roles and requirements. And what you're going to see is the by default settings that are in there. We've turned off, you can see the first four, and we've turned off the option to turn off the Academy CYSA. This should have the ability to hide in here right now. When I logged in, I didn't see that because you don't want your parents seeing that as an option, only because it would confuse them. The goal here is to create roles so when your parents or your volunteers go to register, that it's as simplified as possible. So if you're only offering NAES coach training as an option, that's the only thing that should be on this list. So just for the purposes of right now, I'm going to turn off, let's just say I'll turn off league director and make it inactive. So now if we went back to that registration page, the only thing they're going to see is coach, parent, official, And again, we're just gonna pretend the Academy CYSA isn't here right now. I don't know why that button's not appearing, but we should be able to hide that. You can see I went down here to League Director. But we're going to make it even easier because we want our NAES coach training, and we liked a couple of those free trainings as an organization. We've decided to add concussion training and let's just say bullying training as a requirement to our NAES coach program. So this is a requirement. So we're going to edit using the pencil here, and we're going to change the role of this. And right now, again, it says NAES coach as the name of your role. So we're going to call it Whiteman Air Force Base coach. Well, let's call it youth coach. All right. And we're going to go next. And again, this is for you to do. And if you called us up, we'd walk you through it, but it really is, again, designed to be self-managed. So you can see right now, again, by default, because this is for NAES membership, this is the requirement that they have to have these 3 trainings, which here's the fees for those 3 trainings. Still comes out to $20. But we're going to add a training requirement to this Whitman coach. So I clicked on that, and here's a listing of all of our additional trainings, and the ones that you've already selected are grayed out. So I said we're going to add concussion. You have to do this one at a time. Sorry about that. And it's going to ask you, do you want the person for concussion to get recertification? And again, not again, but the other trainings that you have, you're going to be able to add that as a new feature to be able to get any training recertified as opposed to just renewed. So if you want your coaches to go through concussion again, I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to say every 2 years here. I'm going to hit next. So there's my review. I'm adding concussion recertification is required. Now I'm going to update that particular training. And you can see concussions added. It didn't add any dollars to the account. And it says, do you want to do another? And I'm going to do, I think I said bullying training. So we're going to add bullying as well. Same process. Go through, and for bullying, I'm going to say no to recertification, but it would give me the same option if I wanted them to do that every 5 years. And I'm going to update that training again. Okay, so next review. Have you added all the training requirements for this role? Yes. Go back, and it's asking me if I want to have a mailed card. This is another new thing that we started this year. We had a long discussion. We sent out some surveys to our organizations and found that so many of them don't actually use the cards. We've created a great digital card on the site now under your member organization that you can access on your phone and show, and it has more information on it. But if you would like to get a mailed card, and I can tell you that it was bankrupting us, and we would have had to raise the fee. So instead of raising the fee, we've made it an optional charge that we're passing on to the organizations that want to use cards. You can actually add a mailed card requirement, which will have all those trainings and all that information on here if you would like, but it's going to charge you $5 for that card to be mailed to you. You can get them all mailed to one address, or you can have them mailed to the users. And I know a lot of the bases actually like to collect them themselves. So that's still an option. I'm going to say no here for this new role. And there's all the information, and it's going to update that role. Okay, so that's how you edit a role. And you can see, the last thing it's going to ask me is who's paying for this. Is it user or organization? I'm going to keep this as a user, but I could also say organization, so that at checkout that volunteer would not pay, and it would come out of your account balance if you had an account balance here. Okay, and it gives you the option on the first training or the renewal. So I'm just going to keep it the same. All right, so now we're back, and you can see the light gray means it's a custom role. The dark gray means it's inactive, but I have my coach here. I still have parent official and CYSA. The other thing that you might not have thought of is, in addition to editing these roles, I can create a new role. And this is a kind of a push that we're making now. for a parent. So I'm going to create the category of parent, and I'm going to call this our safety coach, or safety parent. And let's call it Whitman again. And I'm going to hit next. So I'm creating a whole new role. I'm not editing the roles that are already there. And it says, right, you can see this too, that during the process. So it's not a NAES membership program like the other one was, where you get the insurance and, excuse me, all the other benefits until I would add those. But I'm now going to create the requirements for this role. And what I want is this basic youth sports safety. So one of the things we're saying is, coaches, volunteers especially, are concentrated on practices and skills, and the kids on the field, they're not necessarily in tune with the weather all the time, whether there's a kid that came back with a concussion, maybe there's an AED on site at all times. Do they know where that is and how to use it? Do they know basic CPR? Can they treat basic first aid, little cuts and scrapes and those kinds of things? So instead of having, or in addition to having, a team parent, like a team mom or a team dad that, is focused on fun and snacks and those kinds of things, maybe organizing the kids, we have one parent that's either sitting in the dugout or sitting in the stands or wherever they are, depending on the sport, that's focused on safety. So I'm going to add that. And again, this is totally optional for you. And it's asking me, do I want that person to be recertified? And I think it's a good idea, if you are going to do that, to have them recertified every year. The other thing is thinking that we would update those trainings probably a little bit more frequently, because they have to do with different, safety information that tends to change faster. So I'm going to add this training, and I'm going to go next. And I've added all the requirements just for that. Now, if I wanted to, I could have added 2 or 3 other free trainings onto that, but this is a $10 training, and I'm going to create that role. I could also, you don't have to have it be charge anything. So if you just wanted to, you have your all your parents in your program go through the, and again, I'm going to say user pays for this. I could have the organization pay, but if you wanted all of your parents in your program to go through the Protecting Kids safety training for free, you could make that a requirement. You could add that on as a parent program. You could edit the NAES parent for the orientation, or you can just create a new one and call it whatever you want. But you can see now I've got the Whitman safety parent, and I've got the youth coach. And if I deselect parent, official, and Academy CYSA, it's only going to show up with those selections. So let me show you how that looks. I am going to have to log out very quickly, and I'm going to go back to that email I showed you earlier. But because I'm logged out now, that link is going to take me to the registration page. So I can click on that page, go back down here, and you can see now I'm on the registration page. So you sent this out, a volunteer says, hey, where do I go to get those trainings you told me about, or that it says on the website? And I would encourage all of you, if you have a website that says go to the NAES training and it takes them to naes.org, change it to this custom link. Have your web people change it to that custom link so that they go to this page instead. So then when they go to register, hopefully I can do this rather quickly. I'm just going to do these first couple steps so you can see. So it's a 4-step process, and I'm going to do John Witt. There we go. At naes.org. And it's going to search me and know that I'm not in there. So I'm just going to do a real quick password. All right, so I've created a password, and this one I'm going to say I coach. This is just for the information for you for later that goes into their database. They could click more than one of these things. So I'm registering this new account. This will just take me a second. Any address here in Florida. I moved to Palm Beach, so I'm fancy now. I'm going to say mail 0909-1990. Choose not to respond. And let's just say I'm baseball 8 and under coach. So I'm coaching 7 to 8 year old athletes. So this is the registration process. Really nothing can trip anybody up here. I'm trying to show you that we really don't need a process to explain to them. You need that registration button. So far, I don't think there's anything that would trip anybody up until step 3. So it says my organizations, I am affiliated with an organization, and you can see in my email, I told them that when they are asked if they're affiliated, enter Whitman. Okay. So really pretty intuitive here. As soon as I put in white, you can see, and if I put in the organizations, and there it is. If I were, I could have selected that earlier, but there's Whitman Air Force Base. So I'm going to select that. I don't need to add another organization. I'm going to continue. And here's the part that we just added. So now it's going to say, well, let me get past this until I select my role. And because I put in the Whitman Air Force Base youth coach, I put in a Whitman safety parent. Remember, if I wanted to remove these because I didn't offer them, they would not be here. And I put in the coach, continue. Now, actually just create the account. And now what it's going to do is take me to a payment page. And that's where the whole user organization pays deal comes into play. So if it's user pay, it's going to take me through a credit card process. If it's organization pays, it's going to tell me that the organization paid, and I can just check out in that process. But importantly, it's adding these right to my account, asking me, I have to add the sport that I'm coaching. And you can see the fees here, even though they update when I add them to the cart, because they say 1010, they switch because it's a membership account to $750 each. Takes just a second. So this is the process that your volunteers, your coaches, will go through. And I'm not going to go through the payment part of it. It's taken just a second. I can scroll down here and see while this is grayed out that you can basically see that we also show them that there's some other things. And I guess I must have used that account because there's some things in my cart already. Anyway, I'm going to, just for time purposes, you can see the checkout process. And again, the next thing that you would have to know is whether they're paying or the user pays. But okay, it went through there. So, and I can hit checkout. Sometimes that takes a little longer when you create a custom role the very first time. That's probably what happened right there. That's why that took a little bit, but still not too bad. Just for the payment process part of this, I'm going to go ahead and X out of this. Yeah, we're done with it. Okay. So it's asking me that, to add the digital card, don't do it. Okay, so that part of the process should be pretty self-explanatory. After that, for the whole purpose is to make that registration process as easy as it can be for the coach. So I'm going to go back in and log in. You don't need to know this because that's our custom admin section there. So I'm going to log back into Whitman, and you can see it takes me to the home page. It may take you to your login screen, but if you don't, you go to my account up here. You can see that I'm logged in as Greg. All right, so we're back to our organization page. And again, that was in the roles and requirements settings. And I know I've said this a couple of times, but again, while it's fresh in your head, think about that, what you want to do there. And this is where you would adjust the payment settings. Pretty easy process. If you're doing account balance, they're set up for user pays for everything because that's what we did. The new ones are down here below, the safety parent and the Whitman Air Force Base youth coach. And again, you can do the same thing with these fees in that area there. So we'll go back out to the organization home. And this is also where you do that account balance. There's a number of different ways to get here, but you basically can click on this and add money to your credit card. You can see, I think I accidentally showed you this before anyway, but you can see all the different times they've used their money. They can see their actual balance. They set a low balance notification. So every time they get to $100, it will send them an email to remind them to put some more money on their account if they plan on using it. And that's set by the organization. So you can just add funds as easy as that there. Let's see, payment settings. All right, I got through those things. Now my real challenge is, can I get back to does anybody know how to turn back on those settings? I don't see it on my screen here. Or I stopped sharing the screen for a second. Do I have any Zoom experts out there that want to chime in? Hang on one second. Floating screen. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. How about this? If you have a question right now, turn your audio off or on, and I know there's quite a few people on, but I can do my best if there's a simple question to show you. If you have anything else, but I wanted to wrap up because I wanted to give 5 minutes to do that. I wish I could figure out how to turn that screen back on. Yeah, not there. Okay. But if no one has any questions, I want to just encourage you all again to give it a try. Make sure to do the switch back and forth to your account. If you have any problems, I think most of you realize that our staff is here to help you. I know a lot of you talk to Sandy because she's assigned the Air Force organizations to be the main contact, and she can do a lot of this for you. But our goal is to get you guys to get really integrated in the systems and do it yourself, because it's just easier. Not because we don't want to do the work, but it really is just easier. Is anybody? Do I have my volume down? I see some people talking, but I don't hear you. Can you unmute? Anybody? No? All right. Well, I'm going to end it then. And I know Kevin Hansen's on here too. If you want to, Kevin, let me know if anybody has any questions that we can follow up with. We're glad to do a one-on-one with you on any of these things too. Oh, go ahead.
This is Kevin in San Antonio. Looks like
Hey,
there might be one question, how to do the Zoom. But no, just to make sure everyone knows that they get 1 hour of official Air Force training for this. And I believe you're doing the same session tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, I am. So anybody that wants to view it again, or hopefully there'll be some other people. I really applaud the attendance this morning. This is great. I know some of you, it's probably early or really late for it. You're over in Europe. Or no, I guess it's midday over there. So really good. But yes, we'll be doing it again at 6 o'clock. And I guess I can use that same link if anybody wanted to show anybody else on staff that we'll be here again for you. Sound good?
Someone asked if they need to prove that, yeah. One last thing, someone asked if they need proof that they did this. Just annotate it on your current 1098 under I think it's called auxiliary trainings. You guys should know where that's at. If not, ask your local TNC. They can.
Okay. No questions for me though. We're good. All right.
Good to go. Thanks.
Well, I'll go ahead and end it then. Thank you all. Good to see you. Thanks. Hopefully see some of you in Baltimore for the U Sport Congress as well. All righty.